they are listening to us right now, they can also organize something at their own level to just give people this awareness and also talk about what really matters. What are we really doing? It could be a time for organizations to even reflect on, okay, how are we doing? What are we doing? Are we really following what we should do? And are we getting results from what we are doing in terms of ensuring that we can uphold the we call it fundamental right of data subjects within the scope of this regulation. Users should be able to complain about how you are using their data. They should be able to have a medium through which they can reach you. They observe something very bad, and you should be able to, attend to them in terms of maybe they want to update their data. They want to ensure that what the information you have of them is properly being treated. So these are a whole lot of things that will be done during this week, and we should try to share the message. We should try to kind of put emphasis on what are the key things that people are to continue to do at each of their level. Those are some of the things that we can this way. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Hamza. Um, the very interesting thing with this webinar is that we have different stakeholders here participating. We have students, we have people from the private and public sectors, we have even people from the regulations board and the law enforcement. So I think the point you made about everybody playing a role in their level is something that we all need to take away from this session. So I just want to remind our participants at this point that yes, you can follow us on social media and you can post your thoughts about this session with the hashtag cyber plural mssp and hashtag data privacy week. Yes, kindly just post on social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. Thank you so much. So Mr. Hamza, during the course of your answer for the previous question, you mentioned how we should spread the word, we should create awareness. And the whole point of the Data Privacy Week is to inform users about how their data is being used and to tell them how to protect themselves. So most of the campaigns we have here we have social media campaigns, we have some of these TV programs, but the bulk of the people that we intend to reach are people who are not on these platforms. They're in the market, they're in the village, they don't have access to these services. So how do you feel that we can reach these people?
Okay, thank you very much. I think the way the regulation have been structured, even though if the people you are getting their data or you have in your custody their information, if they don't even know what you are doing about it, the regulatory authority, the NDPP, can jump on you if you are trying to go beyond what you're expected to do or you are trying to abuse those data. So sometimes most of these people that we can categorize as underserved, or maybe it's kind of very, very difficult for us to get some of this information down to them. The whole bulk of their responsibility lies on the people that have their information on them, like how they treat it, how they kind of ensure the protection and the privacy of these individuals. These are some of the things that with the structures that the NDPB have put in place. The DPCO, every organization is expected to hire a DPCO and even appoint internally a DPO, data protection officer, that will ensure that all your activities are in tandem. When we look at data privacy and protections, we look at it from just your customers. Your employees, you can be abusing the data of your employees. You can be doing some stuff that maybe they didn't sign up with their data when they are getting employed. So it's kind of cover for everybody. So now looking at I know the major bulk of the responsibility from ensuring that we get to these people in remote areas lies with the regulatory bodies, where they have to kind of leverage platforms like national orientation agencies. There should be a kind of national awareness. There should be an opportunity for them to also collaborate with non-governmental organizations. I think we have a lot of platforms today, like the Diary of Hackers, like the Cyber Safe Foundations. Like they can engage people in the media industry to really get these messages down to the grassroots, because they also need to be aware. They also need to be able to know how people are treating their data, and they should be able to ask questions. So it is very important that we leverage some of these network, some of these existing network. I think we have professional bodies like CSAN, we have CPN, we have some other professional bodies that are not really cyber related, but they are also part of the ecosystem, like the NSE, the MBAs. These are professional bodies that could be leveraged to kind of ensure that yes, we get this awareness down to the people at these remote areas. And I believe that yes, this is something that subsequently, as we move on as a country, we are going to kind of get to that level. But it is important that yes, we start, and we have started, and we are doing something in that direction, which we believe that the regulatory body, they also get to listen to some of these conversations from different people, from different perspectives, and they can be able to use that to formulate a strategy that will allow them to get this information and all of these underserved people in different part of the country. So I believe that has answered your question, right?
Yes, thank you so much. That has clearly answered the question. And I believe the we as the individuals also have a role to play by telling people about it. We
Yes,
can't
yes.
leave the work to the professional bodies alone. So you tell your
Yeah.
neighbor, you tell the people around you, and before you know, answer. Also to remind our participants, you can follow us on social media and share your thoughts on this webinar session with the hashtag CyberPluralMS. So moving on, what that I saw from Cyber Plural. So I think the document will be available for the participants on this meeting. I saw something very interesting, something that a lot of people might have seen. So there was this major data leak that happened, and on the dark web, people's data were for sale. They were put there for sale, and it was a massive, a huge amount of data. So this is we're talking about data privacy, but then there's people
I don't
data
know if it is just me. I can't hear you. Fatih, can you come?
somewhere
Can
for
you come
sale, which
again with the question? I get you.
has like defeated it. It means like it can translate to sort of failure. So where did we go wrong? How did this happen? And what were we not doing wrong to have made such a situation occur? Okay, Mr. Hamza might
Okay,
be
I think I didn't
experiencing some
I didn't get your
technical
question. Can you
difficulties.
come again?
But remember, okay, I'm sorry, Mr.
Hello,
Hamza,
can
did
you
you
hear
get
me?
my question? Yes, I
Can
mentioned
you
that
you can
in the
repeat?
annual report, we saw a huge amount of data was put on sale on the dark web. Did you get that?
Yes, I get that. Yes, I
Okay.
get it up to that point. Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
How
I don't know if it
how
is my
that
network,
happened? Like,
but you are breaking. I can't hear you. That's the issue.
what did we do wrong? Yes, I can hear you,
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear
Mr.
me?
Hamza. I think it might be your network. Yes, I can now.
I can
So
hear
yes,
you.
I
Me,
made
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I made reference to the annual report and how we. Yes, I can hear you too.
So I think something is, I don't know if it is my end, but if the participants can hear us, you should be able to kind of, you can just send in the reactions to show that yes, you can hear us. But I think I get that part of your question, that couple of informations got
Shall I
leaked and
proceed?
they are on the dark web. Is that what you are trying to say? What better? Yes, 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 yes.
Data that was leaked and how that happened. Like, what did we do wrong to cause such a situation from happening?
Okay, so
Please, if you can hear me, can you just indicate?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? I want to answer your question. I get the question.
Yeah, I can see that.
So basically, most of the time, we on our end we have like a threat intel and a monitoring up team that from time to time they try to look at what is happening, especially on our digital space, and we whatever we come across, we try to get those informations to individuals that are affected. So from time to time, we have our team come up with findings that are critical to exposure of people's data and information. So we've had a couple of use cases that I plan that I'm going to be showing us in the course of this section. But most importantly, the point with how that comes to relate with data privacy is kind of what I need to quickly kind of buttress on. You need to understand that a couple of activities that I mentioned earlier, that are technical stuff that are required by individuals handling people's data, processing people's data, collecting people's data, what they are responsible to do, especially when they are having those data in their custody. One of those key things is anonymization and encryptions of those data to ensure that yes, unauthorized access are prevented from those data. Then we have to look at it from the perspective of the risk assessment, like okay, what impact with the leakage of such data can have on the people you've collected it from. At the same time, you have to look at it from the angle of reporting and monitoring and doing a couple of security activity to understand what can how you'll be able to kind of monitor that you are upholding those things going forward. So on our end, as an MSSP, we have been doing that. Like we do that on behalf of the country where we kind of operate from. We do that on the basis of okay, we have clients that also operate and they have relationship, like third party relationship with some other people. So let's see what we can get and let's try to inform and share some of this information to people. But today I would like to tell you that a lot of people's data have been collected, and we have seen situations whereby we just came across them on the open internet. And you know what that means? If you come across something on the open internet, that means it is not just accessible to me, it's accessible to anybody that can find it. It's accessible to people that want to abuse it. It is accessible to people like us that want to share with the people that are affected so that they can kind of take action. I'm going to be showing us a couple of some of this sample, and as you have it in our report for last year, we had a situation whereby a kind of school environment data got exposed, and we saw a couple of informations relating to the wards, the parents, their addresses, their locations, and somebody collected that data in the first place. But the point here is yes, you have collected this data, but the technical requirement that you need to do to ensure that yes, third party or people that are just on the internet cannot have access to those things, you don't do it that. But what makes us to identify is because we have a team that is doing like threat intel, and they monitor some of this digital space. So we're able to collect some of this information. And for this case study, I'm going to kind of move my screen a bit so that we can see one of these use cases. I have several other use cases that I'm going to show you, but this specific one that we have in our report, you can see this is data that is pending relating to the developers, relating to the student, and even their parents, addresses, and all of that. These are what we are saying. So it's the point I'm trying to make now is that it is not just enough for you to put a privacy policy statement on your website, on your digital platform. Are you doing the technical thing that is required of you as an organization to ensure that even though if there's a leakage of those information, they become unreadable? Did you encrypt them to ensure that even if they fall into the wrong hand, they will not be able to open and use them? Are you ensuring that you monitor access to your environment? Are you ensuring that you have a proper change management plan in place so that you don't leave some servers out of, out of fixed, and eventually some data are getting leaked in that process? So we've seen some of these things, and we continue to kind of make references to them. And the essence of this section is to like bring to our notice some of the things that we have seen and how we can call the attentions of developers, of organizations, to ensure that yes, you have to do more of the big work to ensure compliance and for you to uphold the right of individuals under this regulation. Require you to do those technical things, and which on our end we can offer that as a service. On our end, we have a whole lot of organizations also in Nigeria that can, you can have a team in place that will help you to do that, to ensure that yeah, from time to time you are available and you are protecting the right of your individual, and their data are not exposed. So this is just like an example. This is just like a use case, but as we move on in this section, you are going to get to see more of what we have come across. I hope that answers your question, Fatih.
Yes, it does, Mr. Hamza. But you see, if I had not gone through this annual report and several other annual reports, we wouldn't have known that situations like this have happened, and then they go unreported, which is not giving room for improvement and development. So, do we have to rely on reports like this, or is there a channel where people that have findings like this can post so that the regulations will do something about it?
All right, thank you very much. I like this question. So, like, as an MSSP, we have a cyber advisory unit, advisory unit, cyber security advisory unit. The cyber security advisory unit works in line with our threat intel and monitoring of, and from time to time, whatever they find from our threat intel and monitoring activities, they try to share with the cyber security advisory to ensure that yes, we reach out to affected parties. Like in the case of this use case that I just showed us, we have this channel. We want to always reach out to affected parties. Sometimes it is kind of very, very unproductive, because sometimes you try to reach out to people, they will not answer you. You try to send them message, and we can't engage you. We can't start telling you this is what we found if you don't want to talk to us. I can't just send this to one info email that I found on your website. I don't know who has access to that email, so I'll always want to find a way to like establish a connection with the contact. Okay, we want to share this critical information that we found, and we like to have the conversations with your team. So sometimes we get responses from some people, sometimes we don't get responses. So we try to kind of see how we want to notify people without splitting unnecessary information, because we don't want to like where we got this use case that I just showed you now. If I just put it out there on social media, on Twitter or something, it will be accessible to everybody. So the best way to go about it is let's reach out, let's contact the affected party. So for this very particular case, we have this plan in place at our own end. But I believe for us to resolve some of this issue of poor responses from affected parties, and having to wait for days before people will even get back to you, when they will get back to you, we encourage the like of the NDPB to have like a platform where they can collaborate technically with MSSPs and other security providers. When we have things like this, we can always let them know. So it will be coming from them as an authority. Okay, this information have been found in the course of activity of some people that works in our space, and we believe that you should be able to do something. We believe they will act faster if it is coming from them. So strategies that we allow that to work, collaborations that will allow that to work, is what we are hoping that we get as we move into the future. But currently, internally, we have these structures. We reach out to people. I can tell you, we've reached out to these very particular developers and their organizations, and they fix this very particular issue. But imagine we found this and we have this bad motive, which the bad guys we have, when they find things like this, they can go and put it on the dark web. They can decide to even take all those data and destroy it from on the part of the victim. So they will go back to the victim and say, okay, we know your data have been destroyed, but we have a copy. If you want, we can, you need to pay so amount. So, and we have to look at the impact of this exposure on the victim, the data subject themselves. So imagine somebody know where the parent of certain children, they have their contact, they have their information, they can call them. Those information can be used in furthering social engineering attack. It can be used in, reaching out to people and telling them things to do something that we financially eat back at them. So these are some of the things that we hope that as we move into the future, it will help us to address. I hope that answered the question, right?
Does. Yes, it does. Thank you so much. I think one of the major problems that we have with organizations here in Nigeria is that we have a more reactive approach to
Yeah.
cybersecurity. It's until something happens that then they start finding a way instead of, to handle it proactively. So, but that is something that I think we're going to see a lot of improvement and development in. So now, recently I saw that I would go to some websites and they would write that they are NDPR compliant. And usually I would be like, okay, wow, this is good. This is a good improvement. But then the number of NDPR compliant websites that I see now are very high. So I'm just curious, like most of these people that claim to be compliant, are they truly compliant? Since this is from the perspective of security operations, you have a threat intel department in cyber plural. So from your findings, would you say most people that claim to be compliant now are truly compliant?
All right. That's a very tricky question, but I'm going to
Yes.
answer it.
Okay.
The DPCO works directly with NITA. There are stakeholders that NDPB had assigned to maintain these compliance, activities with their clients. Their clients are people that are data controller, data processors, organizations that are data internally, and employees and customers data. So you are expected to assign to yourself as an organization a DPCO. So the DPCO will help you to manage your compliance process by getting you appointing a DPO, ensuring that you conduct the necessary audit, you organize internal trainings for your employees and even customers where they are very needed. So all these things are what the requirement of the NDPR. Yeah, these are part of the things that are expected to do. But when you look at it from the technical point of view, cybersecurity is an holistic project. It's not something that you take privacy one side, you take data protection one side, you try to kind of look at, okay, we'll be doing monitoring and all the security operation one side. No, it has to be holistic. You need to have a plan. The goal is to ensure that you mitigate anything that can affect the business risk-wise. So I think for the for record purpose, the NDPR mandated that certain fine that could be assigned to organizations that defaulted in terms of depending on the number of data they are operating with, and they can be fined in that regard. So, and we've seen a couple of fine that have been issued by NITA to certain organizations that have defaulted. But the point there is this: doing some of these things and going through the checklist of implementation and saying you are doing that, you need to know that today we now have people work with different, these data are digitally stored, and you need to understand the change management process. So I'm going to give you an example. For many reasons, we've seen developers, when they are done with their demo platform, they will not take it off. Those demo platforms at times they contain sensitive information. They contain data of users, and sometimes you see organizations that have some servers that are like maybe they are no longer using, but they just leave those servers there. and those servers contain sensitive information they've collected in the past. So if you don't have an holistic plan, like a proper information security management process in place, you'll be missing those things, and the focus will be just on, oh, it's just data privacy and protection regulation, which we have been observing. So in the course of us doing some of these security operations activities, like threat intel monitoring and stuff, we come across certain things that it's kind of like very, very, shocking. Like you get to see them and it will be like, okay, how on earth is this possible? You even see people issue statements that you feel like, okay, how are you sure that, okay, this is what it should be? But I'm going to show you, for the purpose of this question, I'm going to show you one particular use case that fit into that description. I know those participants will have come across a whole lot of, policy statements on website, cookies policy, privacy policies, and like some people don't even bother to read them. They just want to get the services and leave the platform. Some people have been reading, but they don't even understand. These are a whole lot of issues. But I'm going to quickly show you. We can see that confidence in organizations today. They will tell you when you submit your data in their privacy policy that they are doing all they are expected to do to protect it. But for the sake of this section, I'm going to take us to a place. Can you see this very particular screen? Can everybody see my screen? So this is a data that we came across on the internet. It's a server that have been like left for a very long time. You can see when most of the data that are on these servers were collected. We have it on the main side of this very particular affected organizations that they are, they have this statement, this nice statement is there. Yes, they are saying that they are doing this, they are doing that. But look at this. These are files that are manually filled and scanned, and they are kept on that servers and they are left open. Some of the information that we found on these forms are critical information, like people's BVN, people's address, people's phone numbers. This is like a kind of mine for people that wants to engage in social engineering. So don't get to be shocked when somebody just called you and they started reeling out some information that you feel like it is very, very difficult for them to have gotten those information on in the first place. So sometimes you might have submitted your information somewhere that you have even forgotten, and somebody somewhere had been able to unauthorizedly access those data. These are some of the samples. So issuing statement like this, putting this on your platform does not really, you need to do the hard work. The hard work involves you engaging security operation, security professionals that will help you to ensure that all those technical requirements are put in place. I'm still going to come back to some of these references, but for the purpose of time, this is just what you are trying to say, and it doesn't really imply. But for many people that we have also seen, some people have this statement that they are doing what they should do, but we
Yes.
need to do more work to capture everybody, to ensure that everybody is doing what they should do. So we go on to the next question. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we need more action-backed references. It's not just
Yes,
about having the
yes,
privacy
yes,
policies and
yes,
just making the statements. Yes, thank you so
yes.
much, Mr. Hamza. I'd like to inform our participants that there is a poll going on now. You can answer the questions, and you can also post about your thoughts on this webinar and generally on data privacy with the hashtag cyberpluralmssp and hashtag data privacy week. So, Mr. Hamza, from all that you have said so far, or from most of the things that you have said so far, one thing I can take away is that um, data privacy cannot be effectively implemented without the security operations, without the MSSPs. So, is there a collaboration? Should we be expecting a collaboration soon between the NDPB, that's the Bureau, and MSSP and other key players in the industry? Because we need this collaboration to happen if we're going to make this work.
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. Yes, it's we are into a long walk, and I'm going to like historically go back at the point to how we did the way we've been collecting data of Nigerians, like especially in Nigeria, we have not been so consistent, and the process have not been centralized, like right from time. It's recently that we're trying to have like something under the umbrella of NIMSI that is trying to kind of bring all of this data and informations together at a point so that we are going to have that consistency. So there have been different collections at different level, at different and some of these collections are involves repetitions of similar data. So you go to this place, you submit your biometrics, you submit your name, your data, your address, and all those things. You go to another place, they will still be seeking the same thing. So I believe that yes, there is a whole lot of work for us to bring that harmonization and to ensure that people that are also collecting or using data at their different level, they are also playing a role. So I think the NDPB needs to kind of create a kind of collaborative strategy that will not just bring the MSSP, that will not just bring it's had to be something that will bring everybody, and depending on your level of expertise or your strength, you play to your strength. Like for those of us in the MSSP space, we are able to show some of these things in this section because that's our strength, that's what we do, and that's what we believe that if we can help identify, it will ensure the closure of some of these exposed data. So if everybody, like the professional bodies, are also giving some engagement, if the data controllers are also, like, from time to time, they kind of engage them. The DPCO, I think recently they had a section with the NDPB where they are discussing a kind of a code of conduct that will allow all the data protection compliance organizations to ensure that they are operating on the same level of professionalism. So there's a whole lot of thing that is happening, and all I just want to see is, going forward, we need to create this technical medium where this information can be easily shared with the regulator, and they can take further actions. They can also help notify some of these affected parties. But without the setup of a structure like that, we will still be doing this back and forth. We still be like notifying, and it be taking months. I've seen a situation. It's not that I've seen a situation whereby we call an affected organization in the course of our findings, and they were telling us that they are closing for the year, that nobody will talk to us. We should call them back next year, which is 2023. Those kind of conversations. We are talking about information that can affect or impact your employees, that can impact or drastically cost your users financially, but you are saying you are busy, you don't want to listen, that we should call back. These are some of the responses. I just need to cite this example, but I believe if there is a collaboration that is official collaboration led by the NDPB, it will really help us, and there will be a seamless approach to sharing some of this information. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Hams. But speaking of affected organizations, in some of the use cases and the annual report, I saw that some organizations that were affected were like schools. So we have some secondary schools and some private institutions. Usually organizations that are not big, they cannot afford a cybersecurity department, a separate department that handles matters like this. So how are those kind of people supposed to be part of this strategy? How are they supposed to be part of the data privacy
Thank you very
infrastructure?
much. I like this question because security today, when you talk about data protection, data privacy, and you need to implement some of those technical requirements, sometimes organizations don't even have people that can help them ensure that those implementation are in place. And if they want to maybe get somebody that will do that on their own, like maybe they want to set up a team internally, they are looking at the cost of putting all those things up. But today we have managed security service providers in the country, of which CyberPro is an example, and the MSSP are there to offset you with the ethic of cyber security, data privacy, data protection. We take that responsibility just with a very small amount of commitment from your end in terms of subscription, then you can be rest assured that you are going to get something similar, like you are having somebody internally that is managing that for you. So, and not just that, we want to ensure that organizations can really maintain the concept of data minimization. Whether you are small, big, or very large, you have to ensure that data that you don't need, you don't even collect them in the first place. Because by the time you collect those information, that's when it will become a burden on you to start looking at how you want to protect them, how you want to ensure you follow up with the right retention, how you want to ensure the unauthorized access and abuse of those information. So these are some of the things that we encourage organizations to do. And when we talk about activities of security operations, it goes beyond just threat intel and monitoring. There's a whole lot of work. There's risk assessment that organizations are expected to conduct at the beginning of a project that will involve collections of data, handling of data, so that you can understand the risk ahead and you can plan in line with that. All of these things are what, as an MSSP, we can make available to you at a very cheaper cost, and you don't even need to have setting up a team. And when it is time for you, maybe you're growing big and you want to have your internal team, we can also help you to kind of get them on the path by training, by ensuring that yes, they undergo the necessary technical knowledge transfer in that process. So these are some of the options that are available for small businesses and even people that are operating at a lower level. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, that very much answers my question. We appreciate that we have um MSSPs like cyber plural, because when you're small and you can't afford to have a security department of your own, there's always that option to outsource. So yes, I'm coming to my next question now, Mr. Hamza. I think this question is going to might upset some people, but it's something that I've been thinking about for a while. So these days we see a rise in the number of content creators and like social media influencers, which is great. They bring a lot of humor and smiles on our face, but there's this trend where we see the content creators filming some certain individuals and posting those kind of contents without the knowledge of the person. And sometimes I think, is this not an infringement on privacy? Is this part of what we are talking about, or is this another matter separately?
Okay, thank you very much for this question. Like, I think I'm going to start by saying that yes, one of the reasons why we need to have, this to be a celebration of a week other than just a day, and it should also be a reason for us to not just limit the data privacy and protections activity to just within this period, is because of some of the whole lot of activities that have been happening within our space, uh, that for many of us today, even many people that are on this call with us, we have come to terms with them as normal stuff. But these things are not normal. They are these skit makers, these people in the comedy industry, they have already started crossing certain boundaries that if they know personally, they will also understand that there are a couple of legal implications that they can attract when they continue in that part. So basically, the NDPR is focused on ensuring data privacy and data protections of Nigerians, both home and abroad. So if, and regardless of where you are, whether you are underserved, whether you are living in the city, your privacy is very important, and the regulatory body takes that serious. The country as they see that as a fundamental human right. So people cannot just, they can't just abuse that. So, but for many of the kind of, this concept of cruise and, catching fun and all those things that we do, we have already started crossing those red lines, but we don't know. I believe there are a couple of legal people that are on the call that will have one or two things or questions to add in the course of this. But for this very question, a lot of scenes have been put on social media that if you clearly look them, if you clearly look into them, they are already breach of individuals' privacy. Especially, you see people putting cameras like kilometers away, and they talk to people. They just want to get some information that are personal, people's sex life, people's financial life. These are some of the things that people don't want to share. And you, because you don't even tell them ahead of the fact that you are filming them. Today, part of the mandate, when you go to a very big organizations, you see CCTVs, you see them putting warnings around that, okay, this place is under 247 filming, and you have to be sure that you agree with whatever you are doing within that space, because it will be captured on camera. So you cannot just take cameras and start, like some people don't even know they're on camera. They just get to see themselves later on the skit. And you know how that impacts. It may not impact the person that they did that to directly, but maybe subsequently their world, their children could be affected. Is that not your dad? See what your dad is saying. Sometimes those things are very embarrassing, and they try to kind of position some people to become vulnerable in terms of how the world see them, how people see them, and that is what privacy is all about. So imagine I can access the data of somebody, and I know that the person is having some kind of alliance to certain thing. I can use that, like maybe to make decision going forward. These are some of the things that people are trying to protect. So the regulation is trying to protect, but we've seen that to become a usual thing. People will laugh at it. Those kind of stuff. You go on LinkedIn, I mean, you go on Twitter and Instagram, you see those things generate thousands of thousands of comment and stuff like that. The comedians, the people in that industry, they needed to be engaged by this same NDPB so that they can become an ambassador, a champion to helping spread the awareness in that realm. They should not be participating in abusing people's data privacy and stuff. So they should be like an ambassador that could be engaged to spread the news and get it down to the grassroots. I hope that has answered your question.
Yes, it has. In this session, I want to believe that we have maybe lawyers or people from the law sector.
Yes.
When you see news from other countries, you find out that the law really takes seriously matters like this. You see a lot of court proceedings that there's unauthorized sharing of information. But in Nigeria, we don't see things like that. If the police comes to get you, it's either for theft or things like that. And even if you report incidents like this to maybe the authorities, they take it lightly. It's just a joke. So how do you think we can change this narrative with the law enforcement officials?
Okay, thank you very much. Like I believe that yes, there are channels that needed to be created, and this channel should be available to anybody. It could even be something like I think today there's a way you can use USSD to make some report and stuff like that. I think there should be like a national platforms where people can report, abuse of privacy and stuff like that. And with that, it will also kind of bring to forth how people people that want to cross the line, they will start having that, rethink around, oh, if I do this, I know the implications. And I think the law enforcement agencies sometimes they are also going to be part of this journey. They need to understand what the regulation even say in the first place. Organizations need to even put rooms in place for individuals to make report of if they notice any abuse around their data, any misuse, or maybe they have issues that they want to relate to them. So it's going to be like a solid awareness across board for everybody, not just the law enforcement agency, the individuals. If I'm walking across the street and I notice something like that, I can try to, because I'm aware, I can try to, okay, this thing you are doing is not funny, you should stop that and stuff like that. But I know subsequently, if we continue in that direction, it will become something that everybody is aware of. Everybody can caution anybody that is trying to kind of, cross those red lines. These are some of the things that I believe we can start doing, and we can also ensure we leverage. I think in each of the situation of the country is set up in such a way that there are a couple of local radio stations, local platforms that through which you can reach out to these people in underserved that are regarded as underserved. I hope that has answered your question.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Hamza. So now, in the course of your conversation, you mentioned developers many times, so it just shows how important their role is in this matter. And we also have like the average individuals, the people that feel like no, this kind of thing doesn't concern them, it's for the tech people. So we're hoping that the issues that were addressed in this session, hopefully when we have the next session next year, we don't repeat these issues, because some of them have been addressed. So what would you say these individuals should do differently, to change this narrative? So we have the average individuals and the developers, and also the bureau. You could just share some advice.
All right, thank you very much. Like data privacy, data protection is everybody's business. Like it's even, like no business we want to have is competition get to see their business strategy. That's like, like an IP, intellectual property, something that they are going to be leveraged to make money in the market. No business want to allow his competitor to be able to see maybe their kind of research and development project. So when we talked about data, it's not just about individual. It's not just about what you are submitting. Organization as an entity generates data from time to time from what they are doing in terms of maybe customers relationship. Individuals wants to opt in for services and they have to submit certain data, like organizations that are also offering these services, they need some of these informations to really be able to deliver these services to their users. So it's like an all-rounder. It's like a circle that we always move around. So data is always like a move from one point to the other. So we need to have like holistically, everybody has a role to play. For individuals, I'll get to start with them. You need to be wary of what you submit your data to. Some people today, we have seen that WhatsApp is the new platform through which people collect people's information. Like, but because people are like, okay, I'm not losing anything. People have that mindset. This is not just to submit. If they don't get back to me, I don't care. But you don't know what they will use your data to do after 2 years that you submitted, after 1 month that you submitted. They can get on calling you back. They can get on telling you some information that you are the one that initially shared those things with them. So at our levels, we need to do a whole lot of work. We need to be sure that yes, our submissions of our personally identifiable informations are not just to any platforms. We are sure of where we are dropping them. We are sure of who we are sharing them with. We are sure of who have access to some of this data because it can be abused. For the people that are in charge of handling these data, organizations that processes financial services, that processes, like public and private sectors that processes services for individuals. They are the custodians at some levels of this data. They use them to kind of offer services. So they have a lot of work to do. You engage developers to build some of this platform through which you are collecting some of this data, or where you are even keeping some of this data internally. You need to from time to time have a security strategies that speaks to frequent assessment of those platforms for finding vulnerabilities and things that could be leveraged, unauthorized access to data. Frameworks are being leveraged by developers. Sometimes it's not their fault. Sometimes security is not the goal in their mind. They just want to deliver a working product, and the organizations too. So having an holistic cybersecurity plan, we always keep in check. After your development, you do tests before you go to production. Do your security testing. Don't just do usability testing. Do security testing. Understand that there is no data leakage, that everybody's data authorizations that are assigned to people that needed to have certain data. These are some of the issues. And when you do that, you are already applying what will save you. And you know why I said you're already applying what will save you. The point of where the regulator can come and say you have breached certain things and now we are going to fine you. The organizations don't want to be fined. You don't want to lose money to the fact that you are paying certain, maybe an individual had sued you and you need to pay some, legal, you need to put in some legal resources to be able to answer to some of these claims that maybe the individuals are making. So you need to do all of these things. When you don't do all of these things, we are going to come back and be repeating this. So what the essence of bringing this awareness to people is to know that yes, that all those technical stuff have to come in place for the regulator themselves and even our public sectors, the people in government. There is a whole lot of work that has to be done there, and it has to be strategic. There will be need for a whole lot of collaborations. There will be need for accountability from the management. Most of the time in the public space, when something is not coming from the top, people don't take it serious. I think leadership at each of these various places, they need to kind of buckle up and be, they need to have this mandate for them to pursue privacy and data protections of the individuals that they work with. And I believe that if we do all of this, not just do we track them, we have like ad talk sections like this, one-on-one workshops beyond just conferences to really discuss. You can be doing something and maybe I can learn from it. You can be doing something, maybe I can learn from it. But we need like a platform where we can be sharing some of these advisory, where people can like, okay, we are not doing this, but we believe if we jump on it, it will really help us. This is how we can really go as a nation, and we have to bring these platforms where we can be doing this. I think that can be championed by the bureau itself, by bringing everybody together, so that in one way or the other, people will contribute, the professional bodies, the stakeholders, the people that are needed to play, the key players we have, they know that, okay, when we are talking, somebody is listening to us, and it won't just be that we are just saying things and nobody's acting on it. I hope that has answered your question, Fadi.
Yes, Mr. Hamza, thank you so much. Unfortunately, we only have like few platforms like this that we have sections like this where things like this can be discussed. Thank you so much for that priceless information, because most of the things that you said are very important and things that we can't find in many other places. So there's so much that has been said and there's so much that you have touched. I believe that our participants at this point have many questions on their mind, but we have a time that we have to work with, so we'll be taking only 5 questions. Don't forget though, you should follow us on our social media handles. We have on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram also, and you can share your thoughts and opinions on this session with the hashtag cyber plural MSSP and hashtag data privacy week. So if you have any question and you'd like to use the mic, you would like to direct your question at Mr. Hamza, kindly signify by raising up your hands. For some people who are shy, you can also just drop your question in the question and answer section. So okay, I don't know if there's a way to take note of people that raise up their hands first, because we'd like to do this in a very orderly way, first come first serve. There's somebody on the chat that mentioned that he's from the he wants to shed more light on something you said from the legal perspective. I don't know if the person is still on this call. Kindly signify by raising up your hand so that your microphone will be unmuted. Okay. Yaro Hamid has raised his hand. He would like to give us a legal perspective. Could we please have his microphone unmuted? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Mr. Hamid.
Yes, we can.
Okay, mine is actually not to clear on the legal. In fact, it's related to the question that I want to ask First, I want to say thank you to Ms. Hamza. I joined a bit late, and again, I won't feel threatened that most of the speech are very technical. While I struggle to understand some of the abbreviation, I will still work on myself. But you have established that information confidentiality, data protection is everybody's business, and you have also mentioned that having um, privacy policy is not enough, that organization must take care of the technical part. And I also believe that the technical part is the responsibility of the certain unit of an organization. So for those who are not in that unit, because exposure can also come from that area. In fact, that is where most organizations are being exposed, not with those who are in the unit that understand the implication. But for large organizations that have staff that are not in that unit, what do they need to do effectively and differently to ensure that the exposure does not come from that line? Then secondly, most organizations have got ISG unit, which is information service group that take care of their data and every other thing that concerns that in the organization. So if I have a small and medium enterprise like a corporate business that is not yet a blue chip, do you advise that the I should seek the service of an external uh, cyber organization now? And if I do that, I think this to be very important because this is a question that a lot of people ask. That okay, I have a business now, and I want to seek the service of this external cyber company. So, what form of comfort, what form of relief do I have that while I try to take care of my own staff, not to breach my information, the breach does not come from this external. But and if it happens, what legal framework has been put in place that give me a form of comfort? Because we see many cases where somebody that is supposed to be a defender now becomes an attacker. And
Yes,
so, what is in that case? I think it's something that I'll be interested in knowing about. Thank you very much.
yeah, thank you very much. I really like your questions. They are very this is a very powerful question. So I'm going to start from the very first one that speaks to a very big organizations and people that are technical. They are responsible, but many of their staffs and employees are not in that group. So it is expected. Part of what the NDPR mandated is training that will cut across all of your department, all of your units. There is a structure that you are expected to follow as an organization to ensure data protections and privacy from time to time. So part of it should be like frequent cybersecurity awareness and training sections to address some of these issues. And these are expected to be fine-tuned alongside your job role so that okay, in this my role, okay, I'm working as on this role. I should be able to know that these are the critical data that I deal with, and this is how I protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of those data. So these are some of the things. And for a couple of clients that we work with, we always ensure that when we deliver trainings for organizations at this level, we give them what is at par with their job role, with everybody's structure of business. So the kind of training you give to organization A that we help expand their view and their knowledge on data protection will be different from B, because we have to consider their business scope, what they operate on, and all of those. So we consider that when we issue trainings in that regard. So that should take care of your first question, which is very paramount. So every organizations need to conduct training for not just people in the IT units. You have to ensure that administration or operation, people in business, sales, marketing, even people that are like your contract staff, they needed to be trained because they also work with data of your customers, and that if there's a leakage from them, is also a problem on you. So your second question, which is more of the fear of bringing in a third party and now the third party becoming the problem. So I like this question. In 2022, that was last year, most of the breaches that we experienced, especially on the global scale, like that of Microsoft, that of Twilio, that of Uber, most of these breaches are, like they come from maybe people that are third party or people that are even employees of the organizations that have been breached, but they don't know. And because they don't know, it's spread and it becomes something very big that they have to start issuing a statement, they have to start following up with incident response. But as far as I'm concerned, there is third party risk management. So no one organizations operate in isolation today globally. You have people that are your vendors, your partners, you have somebody that you are working with, you have your customers. So there is a whole lot of templates that speaks to third party activity. So there should be a kind of policy that speaks to what your third party must abide by while delivering certain services to you. The third party MSSP that you are looking at engaging will also provide with you like an SLA, service level agreement, to tell you these are the things that we do, and when we default, these are the things we are going to be responsible for. So it's going to be like a balance, and I think from time to time, the policy will speak to when you can review this third party's activity. Your third party and say, okay, because we trust them. No, you have to go by the book. From time to time, you can just give them a surprise visit to their site to see what they are doing, to be sure they are following up what they should do. You can also have like in the contract before you sign with them that, okay, we are going to work with you guys, but you are going to sign that quarterly or annually we are going to have a review of all of our activities with you, so that we can be sure that you guys are upholding the right and principle of some of these regulations. I hope this has answered your question. Thank you, Mr. Yaro, for your question. That's a very good one. Thank you. So the next one.
Okay, we have Mr. David Ashaolu. He was raising up his hand before that he has a question. Can we please unmute Mr. David? Okay. I think some people have asked 2 in 1 questions, and we said we're going to take 5. So instead of 5, we'll take 5 questions. Now we have 3 left. Mr. David, is he still with us?
Yes, I am. Can you guys hear me now?
Okay, yes,
Yes,
thank
we
you.
can.
Yes,
Thank you.
welcome, Mr. David. We can hear you.
So let me save everybody. I'm not asking a question. So there's still 3 questions. I just want to talk about the legal aspects about the privacy, and I'll try to keep it very brief. So different countries, different regions have different privacy threshold. In the United States, what governs the U.S. Jurisprudence is expectation of privacy. So if you're outside in the market, do you expect that your image would be private? Everybody can see it, right? So you don't have an expectation that things you say on the street would be private because you're saying it. If you're on a phone conversation with somebody else, you know you're talking to somebody, you can control what you do with that conversation. You can't control what the other person do.
Yes.
You can expect that the other person may record your conversation. It's a valid expectation. If you don't want all of these things to happen, then you raise a disclaimer. Please don't record this conversation. Please don't record my image. If you don't want people to record your image or your voice in the public, maybe you put something on your forehead saying, don't record me. But basically that's what happens. That's what operates in the United States. Europe is different. Europe so in US, the burden is on you, the data subject, to tell them what they should do with your data or with your personal information. Europe is different. The burden is on the person to determine what is reasonable expectation of privacy for you. So in Europe, I can't record your conversation without your consent. They expect that I should know that if you want me, as much as I would not want someone to record my conversation, I also should expect that you don't want me to record your conversation. So it's the other way around. So I can give you an example with Google Maps, for instance. In the US, Google Maps, Google went everywhere with cameras and recorded people's frontage, addresses, phone number, street numbers, and put everything on Google Maps and Google View, and everybody can see it, and we enjoy it. When they got to Europe, they got slammed. Europe said, you can't just carry your car and put a camera on top and be recording the front of my house. You should know that it's my house. You can't put it online. Europe is so crazy that they even have what is called right for them.
Yeah.
So someone that has committed an offense 5 years, 10 years ago, when you commit an offense, the record of the court proceedings is a public record. Everybody has access to it. If you go to court, you can find it. Google, if they put any information about you, this guy was convicted of fraud 5 years ago. If you see it on Google, it's fine because it's truth. It happened. Europe says no, you can't put it there. The person has a right to be forgotten. The fact that it didn't happen to him doesn't mean that he wants everybody to continue to know.
Oh,
So
yes.
the burden is higher in Europe on the person that is using the data or collecting data. That's why the GDPR is tougher.
Yeah.
GDPR says if you're collecting data, you have to inform the person what you're going to do with it. You must get their consent. Even if they say they don't consent, you must still give them the services. But Nigeria, now where we are, the constitution says the privacy of every person is guaranteed. That's all. Without saying more, without saying who has the burden, without saying who has to protect the privacy. And that's why the that's why NITDA is coming up with different privacy policy documents.
Yeah.
So far, all the policy documents that NITDA have provided, especially the NDPR, they talk to companies that collect and
The data.
process data. But there is a privacy act that has been passed. I think the National Council recently approved it, but I'm not sure the president has signed it yet. I'm eager. I'm just waiting to see what's in it, to see how much that puts responsibilities on people like content creators or other people collecting information about other people. But basically, that is the three regime of privacy, and so that puts into context what we're trying to, or what Mr. Hamza was trying to explain, and also provide some more information about your question, Fatima. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Davis. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So far on the call, we've heard data privacy from security operations perspective, and now we're hearing it from the legal perspective from Mr. David. Thank you so much for that insight, sir. So we don't have much time, so we'll be taking one last question. This person dropped the question in the Q&A section, and it's from Suleiman Muhammad Mukhtar, and he's asking that how do we implement disaster recovery and business continuity plans for data privacy and security incidents for organizations? So it's basically talking about disaster recovery, how when the incident has already happened, how do you recover from it? Um, Mr. Hamza,
Okay. Thank you. I
thank
think
you.
um, that question is more of it's the responsibility of the people that are collecting the data. So for certain data that you collect for anyone that is going to opt in and use your service, it's going to be more of you knowing how important those informations are for your continuous service delivery to them, especially or for the continuous operation of the organization. So you need to know that okay, when you have those data, you need to have like backups. You need to know where you are keeping them. There are a couple of how you also have to ensure that yes, you are playing in tandem with what the regulations have mentioned. Like maybe you are not just really abusing or doing something that can legally call for you. So for organizations that handle big data, small data, you have like this chunk of information that you collect from people. You need to like have a kind of backup plan, like a kind of business continuity plan. Okay, what happened? Okay, if this server where we are keeping this information is down, are we going to be able to get it? How long can we get it? So that's like a kind of big and processes. You need to like sit down, look at your businesses, look at what you are doing and how the impact of not having those data, the availability of those data can impact your business. So that will determine the type of BCP, business continuity plan that you put in place, the kind of structure you will also put in place altogether. But the leverage cloud environment to have replications of some of these data and they follow them up in that directions. I hope that has answered your question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Hamza. that is the final question that
So
we're
Fadi,
going to
do you
be
still
taking
have any
today.
question or do you have
No,
anything
this is the
that
final question we'll be
somebody has
taking.
tried?
Yes, so there there are no other questions in the question and answer section, and I don't see any hands up again. So I think you've delivered the topic so well that people do not have more questions to ask. It's a good sign though. So at this point now would like to wrap up the session. Before we go, I'll just like Mr. Hamza to give us a concluding statement. Mr. Hamza.
Okay, hello. Can you come again? I think I didn't get
Yes.
you.
No,
You
I
want
was
me
just
to give
asking
you
you
a
to give us a
concluding part,
concluding
right?
statement before we,
Like a
yes, before
conclusion.
we round up.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, you can. Right. So, first and foremost, I would like to appreciate everyone and data protection is not something that we should limit to just today or just this week. For the purpose of the fact that we are celebrating, it's something that we have to constantly be in check with. Like as mentioned by David earlier, it was like different region have different structure of context to this privacy and data protection. So we also have to like look at our own angle. We have to play some role. We have a whole lot of role. So the individuals that data subjects, the regulators, the people that are like players, the data controllers and data processors, we are asked to continue to do more work around security operations because for us to effectively ensure the data privacy and data protections of an individual, which is like you are upholding certain rights, you understand? It's a fundamental right. It's part of like like you want to uphold that right and you don't want to you want to ensure that while you are doing that against your businesses, then you have to take care of the technical aspects, pay attention to security operation, ensure that you do like your proper planning around your project that revolves around data collections, do your assessment, understand the risk, the type of data you're going to be using, the data processing activities that will involve and who will involve, so that you can pre-plan what to do at every phase and you can also ensure that there's everybody's upholding they are playing in tandem with their role. So that's what we say. And on our part, we are here like as an MSSP for organizations that needed our services, trainings. We are going to be available to give you all the best, especially to ensure that yes, you are keeping in tandem with some of these activities. And for the purpose of the use cases that I was trying to show, I'm going to kind of quickly put a pointer to that so that we can see some of these information that we've gotten in the course of us just moving around our threat intel activity. So beyond some of these conversations, these ones that I've shown that has to do with school, this is an organizations that they have one of their management systems on the internet, and we have chunks of data coming out of that. This is an example that was cited earlier by Fatih regarding people saying they are compliant and all of that. We have people's credentials, password, and email exposed on the internet, and you can see these are a couple of the things that we're talking about. So it's not just about having this logo, it's not just about having the policy. So we need to start looking at the technicality behind some of these things that have been mentioned according to those regulations. So look at these data. These are data that normally we shouldn't have access to. It shouldn't be available online. But some people collected it. But because technically they did not pay attention to what they should pay attention to, we have them there on the internet. And you can see these are things that like when you tell somebody you graduated so year, you have this passport number, this is your NIN, the person will start believing you. So these are data that could be leveraged in social engineering, advanced social engineering. They could be leveraged in impersonating the individuals that are affected. These are core issues. And into this digital economy thing, impersonation, identity thefts will become a thing. But if I can submit a form because I have all of these data on your behalf. Then I claim I am you. I change the phone number to my number. So everything that these are some of the things. And I think recently we've been seeing people that are getting to use their phone numbers and stuff to borrow money from platforms like Palmpay. And now Palmpay are now calling them to come and pay financially for the money they did not even borrow themselves, because they were able to do that because they have all the needed information to fill forms on some of these platforms. So I believe we have more work to do. And as we go into the year, as we try to kind of, I believe, holistically as a country, we are going to change. And on our part, we'll continue to do these our findings and make report, and we'll also open to collaborate with platforms, with the stakeholders in the space, like the NDPB, the NGSAT, the NIDA, then professional bodies. We are open to collaborate and work with them. So thank you very much. That would be my round up talk. Thank you everyone for attending. Patty, can you hear me? Are you there? Fatih, can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear me. But if you can hear me, you can just use these reactions to indicate that you can hear me. I don't know if it is my network. I don't know. Fatih, can you hear me? You can check if you mute your mic. I don't know. I can't hear you. Fatih, can you hear me? I don't think Fatih can hear us, but if you can hear me, I want to say thank you everyone for attending this section with us, and I'm going to say that we should try to please ensure that we spread this message. We make people to start, getting into the concept of this awareness. We should spread it at work, spread it at churches, mosques, like anywhere you are, talk about it, let people get to know that, yeah, these things are happening, and yes, they also have to start paying attention. So thank you very much. I don't know, Fatih, can you hear me now? I don't know if she can hear me. So thank you for joining the sections. We really appreciate. And yes, hope to see you guys next time. Thank you very much. I need to stop presenting as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Fatih, can you hear us? I don't think you can hear us. I don't think, yeah, I don't think. Um, Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. We really appreciate your time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Some people are not raising up their hand now. I don't know. Fatih, are you still there? If Fatih is not with us, I don't know. So thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.